All right, hello everybody. Welcome. I am Anthony, otherwise known as Horizon Cast, and we are here in Dallas, Texas, more specifically Allen, Texas, for the 2025 LTA Finals. And I just wanted to take a brief moment to kind of talk about some of the stuff related to this weekend, not just including the games, which are obviously going to be 100 Thieves versus VKS tomorrow, and then the winner of that plays FlyQuest. Spoiler alert: it will be 100 Thieves that will be winning tomorrow. No disrespect to VKS, but they don't have a snowball's chance in hell because all of the South American teams have been getting run all year, and that will not change for the foreseeable future. But I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about some of the stuff that's going on, has been going on with the LTA all year, and some of the stuff that may be happening next year based on some rumors that I'm hearing. And then just generally some other thoughts about how the league has been going. Which I think has not been well. I think it's not been going well at all. In fact, I think it's pretty bad. And I think that's true just by every objective and subjective measurement that we have in terms of the results that have come out of the league this year, and viewership and sponsorship revenue and all the advertisement revenue, and then just generally how fans have felt about the league and how it's been playing, and all this other sort of stuff. I think it's in probably the worst state it's ever been. And I think a lot of that has had to do with the decision-making process that's been coming out of the front office staff, and what they've been doing as far as making decisions on how the league is going to run. I think the last 5 years it's been a very, very startling and precipitous drop, and I think that this year is just a culmination of that. And I think that the region merge has exacerbated that quite a bit. Full transparency, in the beginning, when they had talked about the region merge, I had somewhat been on board with it just because I wanted to see what the possibility was for the region merge to work. But I think now it's very clear that it hasn't at all, and that the idea was not, I think, as well thought out as maybe it was intended to be. And so the result of that is now we're in probably the worst space that we've been in years, and it's not likely to change because one more year of this, and I think that both leagues will be gone, which leads me to the rumor I'm hearing that allegedly next year, with a caveat, it seems like LCS and the CBLOL will be coming back. The caveat being that the rumor is Riot wants to keep the LTA banner stuff just for the cross-region stuff whenever they play. I don't know how true that is. We'll see. I hope this is true. I hope to God this is true, that both regions are going to be splitting. But we'll see. My three guesses as to when Riot would announce this would either be at finals on Sunday, either that or in between when all the region finals are over, and then Worlds, or sometime during or after Worlds would be my guess when they would make that announcement. I would be down for that, for them to announce that. But right now it's just a rumor, so we don't know for sure. So don't expect to hear that soon. I would love to hear that this weekend, because I think that would do a lot to bring back life to the league. But just take it with a grain of salt. It may not happen, so we'll see. I think what's been most disappointing with the LTA merger is not even just that it hasn't just worked in a general sense, but that the rapport between the fans and then the players and the teams in the league is at an all-time low. It's not even just the initial growing pains of people trying to learn how to call it the LTA. I think fans just don't want to. I think fans don't want to call it the LTA. I think everyone misses having the brand of the LCS because it was such a successful product, albeit, obviously in decline to a certain degree over the last 4 or 5 years. And I think that this brand with the LTA is kind of just soulless, to be honest with you. There's nothing that gets people excited about anything that's happening. Throughout the entirety of this year, there's basically been no worthwhile storyline at all in either of the leagues that's been worth tracking, which has been massively disappointing. And so there's really not a reason for fans to watch. If someone were to say, Anthony, why should I watch the LTA? I'd be like, if you like League of Legends, it's great to watch. But if you don't have, if you don't know what the LTA is, then you don't really have a reason, because there's not a reason to. I mean, it's the third best region in the world, behind China and Korea. But that's about it. There's really nothing else. I mean, the whole point was it's supposed to be a cross, conference thing going on, but the regions don't play each other. The North and South don't play each other except for 2 times out of the year. So why even merge them if that's going to be the case? Like, they're still separate leagues essentially. So why even do this? I don't know. So that's why, like, this whole thing has been sort of amorphous and soulless. Like, this whole cool intention that they had just didn't work because, like, I don't know, it doesn't work. Like, the regions don't actively play each other. They don't travel all that much. Like, it just doesn't work. It's sort of like a half-assed version of what this idea was supposed to be. And so because of that, I think that's just, like, not worthwhile to keep it going, especially if it's going to be at the detriment of the survival of both leagues. So in addition to them announcing with the regions unmerging, I'd like to see them announce that they're going to go back to 10 teams. I'd be cool with 9 franchise teams and then 1 relegation spot, or make it all relegation. I don't care. Just, go back to 10 teams in both regions and make sure it stays that way rather than this 8 thing. That just doesn't make sense to me. And I think it's kind of affected the competitive integrity of the league too, to be quite honest with you. So, hopefully we get some good news on that front. But we'll see. Just some other things I've been thinking about. The content I'm going to be shooting tomorrow with fans will be centered around a lot of this. I don't want to get too heavy into that. I already went over finals expectation. I think in addition to the region unmerged stuff, I think that the league structures need to change a lot. I've been having this conversation with a lot of people, and like, what objective things could Riot do to revitalize, not just, sort of resurrect, but revitalize the leagues and bring them back to popularity. I think the 3-split thing isn't working, and I think we probably need to get closer to adopting a Counter-Strike model where it's like a 30% domestic play, 70% international play. I think it's probably the best way to handle that. You need to have enough stuff for the people in local regions to go see. So, keeping that 2-split thing, keeping that 2 domestic championship thing where, like, you have 2 events for, each region for people to go see. But then there also needs to be a lot of international play, because I just think right now that's the biggest problem, is just there's not enough stuff to be excited about from a global perspective. We only have 2 big tournaments a year. It's not enough. And I think that the first stand stuff, I think was a disaster. I think it was not a good change. So that's some of the stuff I'd like to see them announce maybe next year, maybe change that. But I mean, obviously, that probably won't happen. Not until things get really bad, probably. But other than that, one of the things I want to talk about, and I've seen this over the last couple of weeks, is people talking about the severe lack of any sort of content from players and teams over this year, in terms of like the fact that players hardly give interviews anymore, and like the LTA, like the Riot Studios kind of become this just sort of soulless husk of what it used to be. And I want Riot to change that next year. I want them to start making the teams be obligated to do things for fans and for, for the health of the league, just to drive interest and create storylines. And, I mean, to be honest with you, like, the most exciting thing that's happened this year is Bweppo said some stuff that he shouldn't have said. I mean, and that's it. Like, nothing else has happened. There's nothing you could point to, like, oh yeah, like this crazy storyline was happening throughout this year. It's like, no, like all the storytelling, all the narrative driving stuff is just gone from the league right now. And I think that's the most hurtful thing, is there's just no reason to be excited in the league. And so, barring any stuff that happens this weekend that might be fun for watching the finals, I think that's one of the things we're all missing from the LCS, and certainly from CBLOL, is just the life-giving essence of the life-giving factor of what made the league so fun to watch. And I think so much of that is just gone, and I want to see that change next year, and hopefully it will. That's gonna, I could launch in a bunch of other stuff, and get kind of crazy with it, but I don't want to. I want to keep this video relatively short. Other than to say that I am excited to see the games tomorrow. I'm excited to see how well 100 Thieves does against FlyQuest. I mean, that's going to be a pretty good matchup, and obviously they're both going to World, so it's not too much to lose there. Again, no disrespect to VKS, but I fully expect them to lose in pretty convincing fashion tomorrow. I just think it's been a slaughter on the LTA South side, as far as, like, they haven't been able to get much of anything going against LCS teams, and again, I don't think that's going to change for a while, and I think that's another reason why they need to just go back to their own regions. Where they have their own ecosystem and they can develop other talent and try and win that way. Because if they're going to be forced to share world spots with North America, they're going to be relegated to only having one spot for the foreseeable future. I just don't think that's going to change. It would take a lot for that to suddenly be overturned. But Other than that, I don't have much else to talk about right now without getting too crazy in the weeds and getting too out of pocket and emotional and saying some stuff that isn't going to be helpful to anybody. So I'll just say that I'm looking forward to shooting content with fans tomorrow. I'm interested to talk to them, get their opinions, see how they feel about things. I'm really excited to just get back in the groove of doing that, especially because there hasn't been an event here all year, and it's kind of hard to be a League of Legends fan and not have any League of Legends stuff to go to. So it'll be fun to get back in the swing of that. I always get nervous talking to other fans. Like, it's hard sometimes to get people to interact with you. You feel nervous because you want to talk to people, but you don't want to bother anybody. And for me, I'm self-conscious about that. So this could be another one of the things to kind of just get over. And I did a lot of that when the Counter-Strike Major was here several months ago, and that was a lot of fun getting to talk to those people. And so I'm going to try and bring some of that energy and do the same thing tomorrow and Sunday, and really get people excited and try and see what would make them excited about League of Legends again. And just really hear what people are hating and what they're loving and what they want to see more of and what they want to see less of. So but that's going to do it for now. So until tomorrow, I will see you guys later. Cheers and have a great rest of your night.